Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com. It's Sunday morning. It's bright and early. Daily discipline, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through. I get into my study group for warriors, my hardcore heads. I got a lot of notes here from my weekly studies. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We got a lot of good people on here. Hopefully you can make a connection with some people. Let's just get into this. If you're new, you'll catch how it works. Start from the beginning of the week here. Let's just see where we can get into. I thought this was an interesting fact. Did you know that 90% of people who get gym memberships cancel in the first 3 months? Oh, you might have been all gung-ho when you started. You watched Wes Watson or somebody's video and you're like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get in shape, I'm gonna get jacked. 2.5 months later, you're like, fuck this, and you go back to the lazy shithead that you were to begin with. You give up and you have a whole bunch of excuses. Well, what are some of those excuses? This didn't happen to me. I got into working out and I'm addicted to it. I love it. I can't get enough of it. When I don't work out, I don't feel right. I have to work out. I have to exercise in some way, shape, or form. But I have a little list of why people give up so easily. Maybe this is you. People give up because they lose motivation. They lose confidence. They might get injured or have repeated injuries, and that comes from not knowing how to work out properly. They might have unrealistic goals and thought they were going to lose 50 pounds in the first month. You lose 5 pounds in the first month, you're lucky. You're doing good if you can lose 5 pounds in a month. Some people think they're going to get jacked. Oh, I wanted a six-pack and to look like Macho Man Randy Savage or some bodybuilder. I know guys that have been working out for 6 years, hardcore, counting macros, taking supplements, and they still don't look like that. It takes a long time. You might not be doing it right. You might not know how to work out. You can learn how to work out. YouTube exists. You might not be focusing on your nutrition. And of course, then you're never going to get anywhere. You'll never have the body that you want if you don't focus on your nutrition. You may be afraid of toxic gym culture, which I don't believe there is such a thing, in which case you're just really just a pussy. Stop being so much of a pussy. Nobody cares about you at the gym. Nobody is paying attention to you at the gym. I promise you. And some of you feel like you don't need a gym. And you're right. I know guys that are sitting in 6x9 prison cells right now that are in better shape than you could ever imagine being in your life. You don't need a gym. A gym is helpful though. And if you feel like you don't need a gym, you better learn how to work out without one. Otherwise you're just a big pussy. Let's go to the next one. Here goes a misconception that a lot of people have. Maybe most of you have this. Your soul isn't trapped inside your body. That's not how it works. Your soul is not trapped inside your body. You are not a ghost in a shell. You ever see that anime movie, Japanese anime movie? Came out years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Ghost in a Shell. They had a movie, then they had a series, and they may have even done a live action version of it, which was probably stupid. I think all live action versions of everything are stupid. Let me take that back. They did a live action version of Cowboy Bebop, which was actually all right. But your soul isn't trapped inside your body. Your soul creates your body, just like your soul isn't trapped inside your mind. It creates your mind. Your mind, body, and soul is you. You can't separate any one of those things. Mind, body, and soul is what makes you up. It's a triumvirate. It's a Holy Trinity. It's the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's past, present, and future. Mind, body, and soul is everything about you. And your soul is inside of you. You can't get rid of it. Your soul is creating you at every second. Some people never get that stuff. You can think about that for a while. Here's just some little bit of advice, some fatherly advice. Some of you knuckleheads out there. What worked for you yesterday might not always work for you tomorrow. You have to be willing to change. You have to be open and willing to change. You have to be willing to find new tactics. Every tactician, military tactician, a good soldier understands this, that the tactics for yesterday's battle may not be what we're going to use for tomorrow's battle. We have to be willing to be fluent and to be open. Let's go to the next one. You can't defeat your giant if you don't believe what you have is enough. Well, that's a big one. So this is the story of King David. You know, King David was just a teenager, and he was called to go and deliver lunch to the warriors down on the battlefield, and they were going to fight the Philistines, who were a bunch of big giant goons. Goliath was a big bully. Goliath was like the Debo of that whole world back in those days. Of course, he was bigger than Debo. Goliath was supposed to be a big giant. But everybody was afraid of him, and he's down there talking shit. Nobody wants to fuck with him. And King David wasn't going down there to fight any giants. He was going down there to deliver lunch. He didn't even want to do that. He had to be coerced to do that. He's like, man, all right, I guess I'll go and deliver lunch. Well, nobody could beat Goliath. And David says, I'll give it a shot. People laughing at him. Little chump, what do you think you're going to do? We got weapons. We got the baddest weapons. None of us can beat these big giants. What are you going to do? Well, David, all he had was a rag and a rock. That's all he had was a rag. And he went down to a creek and found himself a little rock, puts it in the rag, and he's like, that's good. People are probably looking at him like, what's this kid doing? This idiot. He's going to get himself killed. And David goes out there and faces Goliath. And he runs a little bit this way and runs a little bit that way, and he tosses that rock out of that rag, and boom, he takes Goliath down, chops his head off. You have to believe in yourself. That's the bottom line. And you have to believe that what you have is enough. If you're always thinking that what I need in order to succeed is down the road somewhere, I haven't acquired it yet. It's not in my bag of tricks. It's not in my toolbox now, but it will be eventually. Man, you're fighting this battle wrong. You're fighting wrong. You got to be more like King David. Be able to work with what you have. Be confident in what's around you. And to know that with my skill, I could take even something tiny, something as insignificant as a pebble, and kill a giant with it. Let's go to the next one. The perpetual victim will always end up bitter and cruel. This is a rule of life. The perpetual victim will always end up bitter and cruel. This is the story of every Marvel supervillain, of every DC Comics supervillain. Every one of them was a nerd who was picked on, who over-identified with victimhood and ended up wanting revenge on everybody else. That might be you too. That seems to be every social justice warrior that's out there right now. So let's talk about a definition. Let's talk about retributive racism. That's a term, retributive racism. This is the goal of the social justice warrior. And basically they're using racism as vengeance against you because they think that you're a racist. So it's this weird twisted circle where they're using racism to fight racism. You know, under the theory of retributive racism is rule number one, every single white person is racist simply by being born. It's a ridiculous culture of pathological altruism, of relentlessly identifying these past injustices, even if they're not even real. This is nerd psychology 101, man. This is what nerds believe. Weak little nerd shitheads believe this stuff. They're wrapped in confirmation bias, groupthink, echo chambers, willful blindness, fucking nerd psychology. They're frustrated with their own social awkwardness and their shitty childhoods. They felt weak their whole lives, powerless their whole weak little fucking nerd lives, unaccepted by everybody in the popular group, probably for a good reason. And this is their vengeance, retributive racism. That's what this is all about, man. This is what the social justice fuckhead is all about. Let's go to the next one. How can you eat my lunch and talk against my destiny? I wrote that one down. I don't really even know what it meant, but it sounded good. I kind of take it to be like, how can you call me a friend and talk shit against me? How could you be friendly with me and be plotting against me? Is there a wolf in sheep's clothing in your midst, in your vicinity? It's possible there is. I realized a while back that I didn't really even have any friends. It's a sad realization. You get sick, you find out you have no friends. You need somebody's help, you find out you have no friends. I went off the grid. I got rid of my social media for 5 years. I canceled Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. For 5 years, I was gone. I disappeared. I mean, my brother and other people in my immediate world, obviously they see me all the time, every day, but I was gone from social media. Which, try doing that. You will cut out a lot of people in your life, even family. It's like they don't even exist anymore. And I realized none of them call me, none of them text me, nobody's showing up at my house. All these people, I know so many people that profess to be down with me, that call me homie, and I have no fucking friends. You know, here's the difference between you and me. This is the next one. It's a big difference between you and me. I'm not afraid of evil. I'll take it a step further. I'm not afraid of the devil. The devil is a friend of mine. I don't know if you can understand how that works. Can you understand how I could be practicing good, living in a realm of goodness, but be friends with the devil? So I'm not afraid of evil. Hell doesn't scare me. Demons don't scare me. Some people don't understand, man. You got to check my last name. You know, this is a rule of life, and you'll realize this. People define you by what they need from you. Right? That's what they think of you, is by what they need out of you. To a lot of people, I'm life coach and mentor, because that's what they need out of me. To a lot of people, I'm motorcycle builder, because that's what they need out of me, is motorcycle building. Customization. I own a motorcycle shop, if you didn't know that. Some people look at me as the guy who's going to help them move, and that's the only time I ever talk to them, is when it's time to move. Some people look at me as real tough, because that's what they want, is someone real tough to protect them. People define you by what they need from you. Here's a rule. The rule of eclipse. Make your calling bigger than your circumstance. Think of an eclipse and how an eclipse works, with the moon going in front of the sun and blocking it out. Isn't it interesting that because of the relative distance of both objects from us, that the moon and the sun appear almost the same size, even though they're obviously not in real life. But the moon blocks out the sun, even if it is briefly. Eclipses the sun. You want your calling, your goals to eclipse your circumstance. This is what gives you the drive to keep going forward. Let's go to the next one. The perpetual victim will always end up bitter and cruel. That's a quote by Jordan Peterson. Let's go to the next one. It's more important to notice that you were wrong than to be right. That's pretty simple. Let's go to the next one. Can you bear the conditions of your own existence? A lot of people can't. If you can't bear the conditions of your current situation, you're probably not able to climb out of it. You may not be able to reach your goals if you can't bear the conditions that you're currently in. If you can't survive on this level, what makes you think that you're able to go to the next level? You have to master each level. Any gamer knows this. Food for thought. Have a great Sunday.